Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your girl, Ms. Marcy, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Ms. Marcy Show. Today, I'm going to have a discussion with two special guests, and we're going to talk about basically how, a lot of times in life you go through ups and downs and ups or what have you. And my guests today, they want to come on and they want to basically share some inspiration and just to kind of share some motivation. And y'all know we can always use inspiration and motivation. So they want to come on and share this with us. And I am so glad to welcome Sarah and Samantha. Hey, ladies.
Hey, everybody.
How are you guys doing today?
We're doing fabulous. Thanks for asking.
No problem. All right, and as I mentioned, you guys, your mission is to help to change women's lives by motivating them and inspiring them to step outside of their comfort zone, to just truly start living their lives outside of their box. And one of the ways that you are doing this is through your website called Never Be Average. Can you tell our listeners a little more about Never Be Average?
Yes, Never Be Average is a place for women to come as their vulnerable selves, to be able to share their stories. There we share our stories and our advice and insight based off of our own experiences. And, one thing that we've learned is that life is going to happen no matter what, and it's about how you respond to it. So we want to help women to be able to respond and to continue living instead of to be affected by their circumstance.
Right. Yeah, because you're right. I mean, life is going to happen no matter what you do, no matter who you are, and no matter your status, anything, no matter what, life is going to happen. So, one of the key things is to know how to respond.
Yeah.
So, now, where are you guys? Well, first of all, and you guys are sisters, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Now, where are you guys originally from?
We're from the Bay Area.
Okay. All right. And where do you guys reside now?
We're in Seattle, Washington, in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay, cool. Okay. Now, let me ask you, how did Never Be Average come about? Like, what inspired you to want to inspire other women?
So, Never Be Average came about 18 months ago, and it started just as a hobby. Sarah and I, we have worked in the corporate world together, climbing the corporate ladder for quite some time now, and we really just came to a point where we looked at each other one day and we said, we are worth more than this. We can do more than this. So we sat down and we started talking about, who we are and what we stand for and what we have to offer, and that's how we came up with Never Be Average. And what we like to say is, it's not in a Kardashian sense, it's in a self-worth, self-love, self-value. I'm worthy and I'm going to live a life that's not average.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, when you say it's not in the Kardashian sense, what do you mean by that?
In a Kardashian or a higher living sense, where it's not about not being average because you're out on yachts all weekend or you have the latest designer bag. It's about living a fulfilled life.
Gotcha. You know what? That's a good point, because a lot of times, well, first of all, we know the Kardashians have a huge following. And a lot of times I think, one of the main things that people are drawn to by them is the glamour, the haves. Yeah. So that's really, I like that idea from you guys. I like that. Now, on your website, I saw that you have how to become the woman he never wants to let go. And you list 4 ways, and this is for my female listeners, you list 4 ways that a woman can do this, and that is through confidence, independence, ambition, and boundaries. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, and it comes down to just your own self-worth and your self-love. And those 4 things, those are things that take time. So with confidence and boundaries and independence and all those things, those are things that you consciously work on every single day. And when you really take the time to really invest in yourself, you're not going to allow anything in your life that doesn't basically make you happy or steal your joy. And when you come across a woman that is confident and independent and has really healthy boundaries, there is something very sexy about her, and you want to keep that woman. And so we wrote that article because for a long time, Samantha and I, we didn't have those qualities. And because we didn't have those qualities, and because we lacked in confidence and we were insecure, and we definitely didn't have healthy boundaries in our life, it led to relationships, and it led to betrayal, and it led to infidelity. And what we say is that when you basically work on yourself, you end up naturally having those four things that become very attractive. And and it's same with when you're a male that you have. If they have those four qualities, you know, that's a keeper. And so, it just comes down to you. And so in those four things, it isn't this, like, overly confident person or this independent person that doesn't need a man, or this boundary where you can't touch me, basically, because, you know, I have these set boundaries. They're very healthy things. And so the confidence is the self-worth, and the independence is you don't need a man, but he adds value if you have one. So that's really the message behind that article.
Okay. And that's a really good message, because a lot of people, especially, you know, a lot of times women do lack those things, and it's always good to have someone to just kind of let you know, like, hey, you know, just work on yourself. A lot of times I think, people are afraid to just work on themselves. A lot of times people think they should be in relationships, and you know what I mean? Like, they feel like relationships are going to, like, solve, you know, any type of issue they have within themselves. But people don't realize is what you bring to a relationship is often what you have in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, our passion comes from basically our experiences, and this wasn't an easy path. We didn't get the golden ticket. Now we're just going out to motivate women and act like this is a simple thing, because it's not. It led to a lot, because of the insecurities and the lack of confidence or the healthy boundaries. It led to years of pain and suffering, and so that's really our mission, is to help women get there a little bit quicker.
Okay. Now, the two of you have actually been married before yourselves, correct?
Sarah has been married before, and I am currently married.
Oh, okay. And Sarah, so how was married life for you?
So married life, and this is what is a unique story, because my married life looked like what every little girl's dream was. Until I met my ex-husband. I met him in college. We were in a fraternity and sorority. We got married. His parents bought us a home on the water. We had the cars, we had the careers, we had everything. And from the outside, it looked like it was this perfect world.
It sounds
but on
like
the
it.
inside, I was very lonely. I was in a big home with a husband that had an addiction, and he was unfaithful many times. There was a lot of betrayal, and I allowed myself to continue to stay for 8 years. And it was one of these secrets that I kept because I was so scared of what people were going to think. I felt like I was going to be judged. And so the minute that I walked out of my front door, I put on a show like no one's business. And everyone would say, oh my gosh, Sarah, you guys have the perfect marriage and this and that. And inside my head, I thought, oh my gosh, if you only knew. And after going through my divorce, I never really dealt with the reasons why I stayed, because again, it wasn't about him, it wasn't about his addiction, and it wasn't about the infidelity. It was about why I decided to stay, knowing everything that I knew for so long. And when I got divorced, and I didn't deal with why I stayed. I thought that the change came because I got divorced. Like, okay, I got divorced, now I'm going to go be happy. And it doesn't work that way, because if you don't figure out why you were in the situation that you were in the first place, you're going to have the same result again. And so what happened was, 5 years after my divorce, I repeated the cycle with relationships, I wasn't happy. And I would jump into a relationship and I would have the same result, basically. And it wasn't until one day I woke up and said, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And that's when the change started, and that's when I really started to implement, the tools. And I sought therapy. I picked up every self-help book I could read. I changed my circle of friends. And so it's really that, again, helping women that are, I'm not different than a lot of women. There's so many women that are going through the same thing. It's just, there's not a platform really to talk about it. And I know when I was going through it, I didn't have a circle, and I didn't have a place and a safe place to know that normal. There's other women, and there was support there. It was my own burden to carry, and so that's really where our mission is to have a healthy platform for women to say, come as you are.
Right, and no judgments.
Yeah.
Right, and that is a very powerful testimony, because like you said, on the outside you appear to have it all, and a lot of times so many people get caught up in that. They see pictures that people post on Facebook with their significant others, and they think, oh wow, I want that. Oh wow, she's got it going on, she has everything. But you really don't. I mean, I'm not saying people can't genuinely be happy either, but at the same time, you don't know the struggles that people are really dealing with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. And so, now, Samantha, now you said you are currently married, correct?
Yes, I am.
And how do how was married life for you currently?
So, fortunately for me, I got to watch other people go through experiences, and I learned a lot through that. And one thing, even our parents, they had some real struggles, and they worked really hard, and they just celebrated 38 years of marriage. But they put in the work, so I got to watch those things, and then being behind the scenes with my sister when that happened, and other people. I want to be a part of the bottom 30% who stays married, but I'm not going to sacrifice to stay married. So one thing that's really important to me is happiness, and so that means it's not just like rainbows and roses all the time. But I've been with my husband for almost 8 years, and we go to therapy every single month, and it's not that something happened, but we prioritize our marriage. We have to have a safe place where we can talk and learn how to communicate. We read self-help books. We go through the appropriate steps and use the appropriate tools so that when things do come up in our marriage or even personally, that we are able to approach it with the right steps and to do it together as a team. And so, yeah, we still have disagreements and we can see things differently sometimes, but because we put in the work, we know how to get to the table together and get to the same place together. And honestly, we're really happy.
Great. That's good to hear. That is really good to hear, because like you mentioned, the 30% of marriages staying together, I think the number of divorce, I think that those statistics are just disturbing.
It is disturbing, and I think that the one thing I always want to share with women is, because we're very pro-relationships, but it's still, I still have the expectation, if I'm bringing 100%, then you're going to bring 100%. That's what we committed to in our marriage, and so I don't want to be a part of the 30% just to be a part of the 30%. I'm not going to sacrifice my happiness for that. So that's a part of setting those healthy boundaries and expectations in your marriage, that we're both going to go at it 100%. And at the day that if my husband chose that he wasn't willing to do that anymore, then we'd have to figure it out from there. But my expectation and my boundary is that we both bring 100% to the table, as hard as it is.
Right. And we are talking with Sarah and Samantha, the owners and founders of Never Be Average. And I want to also say, too, that I really like the fact that you guys are, you guys have lived, you guys have lived what you're preaching. You guys are not just, like you said, you're not just doing this. You have gone through things, and you're just trying to help people through sharing what you've gone through.
Yeah, absolutely. We always say it's not, what we're doing is not about popularity. It's about purpose. And again, if we can make a difference in one person's life because we're doing it, that's worth it. And during a lot of the pain and the suffering that we were going through, I didn't have an outlet. And if I can be an outlet for somebody, then that's what we're going to be.
Right. Right. And what we're going to do at this point, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. I hate going to commercial, but we have to go to commercial. So we'll be right back with more with Samantha and Sarah.
The paradise for lovers of good music. www.musicgold.com, the online radio directory of over 6,000 stations.
Hey listeners, did you know our station is listed at Web Radio Central? Why not vote for us and show your support? Just visit webradiocentral.com and search for our station. And thanks for listening.
Join the club that gives you stuff.
Hey, thanks!
Radio Loyalty.
Here's how it works.
Just click on the Radio Loyalty banner right now and sign up. Then you keep on listening like you already do. But now you earn points. Those points add up, and you can trade them in for stuff in the Radio Loyalty store. Earn more points by sharing your station with friends on Facebook and Twitter, answering surveys, and by using the apps in the New Players App Store. Pretty simple, right? Radio Loyalty. Click that banner to join now.
All right, we are back, and if you are just now tuning in to the Miss Marcy Show, I am speaking with two lovely guests, Samantha and Sarah, which are the founders and owners of Never Be Average website, a website where women can go and get inspiration and just truly be themselves. Now, also, ladies, now I saw where you guys, one of you, I don't remember which one it was, but one of you had a issue with your sexuality.
Yes, that's me, Sarah.
Okay. And what was, what was the issue? What, you talk to us about that a little more?
Yeah, that is, after I was going through the divorce, I had gotten into a same-sex relationship, and I was able to see the struggles that people go through when you face family and you face religion, or you face, those issues, or you face judgment, especially when you come from, being married and from a heterosexual relationship for so long, and especially a picture perfect, and then you completely throw a curveball at people. There is a lot of criticism, but it's a blessing in the sense where you learn a lot about yourself when you're doing something different, basically. Mm-hmm. And so during that time in my life, for me it was a real relationship because love is love, but at the time it was really, really difficult. It destroyed my family for a little bit. It destroyed some friendships. And I think the biggest thing that it taught me was unconditional love, and then it also taught me who was there for me during the times where everyone else was going to shy away from me, basically.
Right. And how long were you in that relationship?
It was on and off for years. I was like I said, after my divorce, I got into a really unhealthy place of, and not because of the relationship, it just meant a place of just repeating cycles of relationships. So I would, be with her, and then I would go be with men, and then I couldn't settle down. And it was a lot of, again, my own issues of not dealing with my past.
Right. Now, did you find that in that same-sex relationship that you guys kind of dealt with the same type of issues that heterosexual relationships deal with?
Yes. Yeah. There's some that are different, absolutely, but it definitely felt like a normal relationship. The only time that it didn't would be maybe there's limitations here and there, but it definitely is. It was the same issues that you would have in a heterosexual relationship. Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, with Never Be Average, where do you guys see this going?
So Never Be Average, we are consultants for women, and then also we have an ebook that's going to be coming out, and cool. That's basically your So What Now, and how we like to look at the ebook is when you go to a conference or church or a convention and you leave and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm so ready for change, like I want this. And then you get home back into your normal environment and everything's the same. And you begin to get back in your routine and it just seems difficult to implement the change and to keep that passion going. So our ebook that's going to be coming out at the end of the month is 8 steps to implement while you're going through that change.
Okay. You said 8 steps to implement?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, can you share with us a few of those 8 steps?
Yeah, and there are steps or tools. We like to say a lot of times that, just like because life's going to happen, so it's about how you respond. And what Sarah and I believe very strongly is in having the tools to be equipped to handle those things. Even like I said, in my marriage, we go to therapy and we work on things so that we have the tools that when things come up that we're ready to face that head on and not be a victim because of it. So, one of those things is removing negative influences in your life. So that means removing unhealthy friendships. It means getting out of an unhealthy job if it's a negative environment for you. It means removing yourself from an unhealthy relationship. You can't have a positive life when there's negative things.
No, you cannot.
What?
No, I was just saying, no, you cannot.
No. And that's hard. It's hard. So another one of those things is investing in yourself and making time for yourself. We prioritize the things that are important to us. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. And so what do you do with it? We spend a lot of our lives living for everybody else, and that's when we end up unhappy at the end of the day. And so we try to share with investors, invest in yourself, the tools on how to start prioritizing yourself.
Yes, and I think first of all, self-investment is so important. Oh my gosh, it's so important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we talk, a lot of times our advice is, a lot of people are like, well, how do you invest in yourself? What do you mean? And then when we say, fall in love with yourself and these things, and everyone's like, oh, it sounds so easy, but, what do you mean by that? And what we mean by it is, in the day that we live now, everything's at your fingertips. So, there is on even social media, there's so many positive, motivating mentors out there, or you can Google self-help articles, or you can go to Amazon and self-improvement, Google that, and it'll tackle any subject that you need. And so we don't even need to go to the local library or the bookstore anymore. It's at our fingertips. So investing in yourself is, what are you doing with your time? Are you looking through your Facebook feed in the morning and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so behind and everyone's life seems perfect? Or are you saying that to maybe finding motivating people, and so you hop out of their bed in the morning and you go, I got this, but I'm not behind, I'm ahead, let's get going. And so it's, again, how do you spend your time?
Yeah, and that's very important because, I think they said studies had been done where people had been, especially women, had been looking on Facebook and feeling some type of way when they would get off Facebook, feeling like their life was crappy and everyone else was just so glamorous. So, so it really is important to understand, how you're applying your time to yourself.
Yeah, and really understanding another chapter that we have, and we're giving it all away, but there'll be more goods in it, is knowing your weakness. And it's really understanding how things make you feel. And so, again, if you're going through Facebook or whatnot, which is all good, we all love Facebook, we love seeing everyone's stuff and all that, but you got to be real with yourself. If you go through the feed and you get up and you go, okay, I'm going off my day, or if you feel, you know what, I just don't, whenever I keep pulling up Facebook, I don't feel that great. And again, it's understanding your weakness and you got to come to yourself. And then you got to say, you know what, I'm going to maybe give this a rest for a minute. And that's, again, investing in yourself, is understanding, I don't like the way that something's making me feel. And instead of then keep repeating the behavior, basically, it's, I'm gonna adjust how I approach things.
That is so true, and that's good advice. And I think too, you also have to not compare yourself to other people, because I think comparing yourself to other people, that's almost an instant killer.
Yeah, and the problem is you're comparing yourself to what you think is going on with someone else, not an actual reality. Right. That is true. So now I want to ask you ladies just your opinion on the dating this day and age. What are your thoughts on how, because I hear a lot of women say, oh, men don't court anymore. And I've heard women, I mean, even celebrity women say this, not just everyday women, but like I said, even celebrity women. So what are your thoughts on the dating scene today? I agree with that, for the most part. And I think it's really difficult. It's the society we live in today, and, especially the millennial generation, is they want everything handed on their fingertips. They don't want to have to work for anything. And so that goes for men and women as well. And so women get this idea, growing up with what everything's supposed to be like because of the movies they watch or the books they read or what society tells them. And I think when it comes to dating, that's, again, everything in Sarah and I's messages, it always comes back to you. So you have to be real with yourself, what your expectations are. I mean, when we're saying, when you're looking at a guy, oh, he doesn't court me because he doesn't open the door. I mean, how long has it been since guys really haven't been opening the door anymore? What are the things that he's bringing to the table? And I think a lot of times we get caught up in this idea of what something's supposed to be instead of taking the time to invest in ourselves and understanding what it actually takes to fulfill us. So that's where it comes back to you and investing in yourself, getting to know yourself, having that self-confidence, that self-love, and that self-worth, and having healthy boundaries. So then when it comes down to it, you're not going to be with somebody who does anything less than that. And there are still good men out there. And sometimes it's going to be a position where you're going to help that man step up to the plate because you're setting these healthy boundaries. You know, you want to be with somebody so you bring out the best in each other. So definitely I would say, you know, getting caught up in the, men don't court anymore is kind of just a waste of your time, because what are you actually looking for in the first place? That's what you've got to figure out. And then you set your boundaries around that, and the right guy's going to come.
Good. Pretty good. I like that. So what I'm going to do real quick, again, we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back with some more Samantha and Sarah. Stay tuned.
5,995, 5,996, 5,997, 5,998, 5,999. And every day, more and more. www.musicgold.com, the online radio directory of over 6,000 stations.
Hey listeners, did you know our station is listed at Web Radio Central?
Woo-hoo! Oh yeah.
Why not vote for us and show your support?
You guys are the best.
Just visit webradiocentral.com and search for our station.
We're rewarding you for something you already do, listening to us. It's radio loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the Radio Loyalty store. You can earn even more points when you share your favorite station with friends on Facebook and Twitter. Radio Loyalty. It's free to sign up, so click the banner to join now.
All right, everyone, and we are back more with Samantha and Sarah, the founders of Never Be Average. And I wanted to ask you ladies, do any of you have children?
No.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't mean they won't come, but at the place that we're at in our lives, so far we've just decided it's not our time yet.
Right. And that's another thing. Do you guys ever feel pressure to have children? Because I know that's something that a lot of women say as well, that they feel pressured.
Oh, absolutely. You know, especially the older you get, and, you know, even in a marriage, the longer you've been married, when are you going to have kids, when are you going to have kids? And that's another thing with the being confident in who you are and what you want and where you're at. And so Sarah and I can both say confidently, you know, we are taking this time to set a strong foundation in our lives. So that means we're taking this time to invest in ourselves. You know, Sarah's engaged again to a wonderful man. She's taking the time to invest in her relationship, set a strong foundation. And it's not about the timing. Women get so caught up in that everything has to be in a certain timing. You know, the dating, the moving in, the marriage, the kids, everything has to be on a certain schedule or else they're behind. When you really find happiness when you just live the life you want to live. And kids can come later. I'm sorry. I see celebrities having kids at 40, and yes, they have great, you know, dietitians and workout partners, but it's all about when it's right for you, and people got to stop worrying about what everybody else tells them is the right time for their life or the right thing in their life or the right action to take. You've got to be comfortable enough to be confident in what you feel is right, and don't sacrifice for it.
Oh my gosh, I am so glad you said that. I was just telling somebody that the other day, because it seems like, especially when you hit your 30s, oh my gosh, people are just on you. When are you going to have children? Why don't you have children? What are you waiting for? And here's the one I like the best. I hear the most. You know, if you wait too late, you're going to take the risk of having complications and having, you know. And here's the thing. One of the things that I've noticed, my own observation, is I know that biologically and scientifically women are supposed to have children by a certain time due to their, you know, the eggs and everything. However, I've noticed that, like, I know some women who've had, you know, issues with birth and their, you know, children came out with maybe, like, you know, cerebral palsy or Down syndrome. Those women were actually in their 20s and 30s And so there's this, it's like this scare tactic myth, and it has women going crazy when they're in their 30s to just hurry up and just go out and just get a baby just because everybody is saying you need to have a baby. And I, like you just said, I feel that you live life on your terms, not because of what other people tell you to do, because at the end of the day, you have to live with the decisions that you made.
Exactly. And, you know, at the end of the day, too, like, it's all up to the big guy upstairs what's the right thing for you, if it's going to work out later or not. And honestly, for me, in the path that I'm on, you know, I'm definitely going to have kids. But if it gets to the point where it's too late, then I'm totally, you know, for my biological sense, I'm totally open to adopting. There's a lot of kids who need a great home that wouldn't have one otherwise. So I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm stuck to a time schedule based off of what other people say.
Mm-hmm. Right, because then I just feel like if you live like that, you're not really living your life for yourself. You're living for everybody else.
Exactly.
And that's just not the way to live life. So, I mean, hey, you know. Now, I wanted to also ask you, so have you guys, because when I read everything about you, the first thing that came to my mind was like Cosmopolitan or Woman's Day. Have you guys thought about doing any work for any of those magazines?
Yes, we actually just got brought on as contributing writers to the Indie Chicks. I don't know if you've looked into them, but their mission is to help women find their inner badass. So it's very much in line with what we're doing. And then we also write for the Good Men's Project. And the Good Men's Project, their mission is the conversation that no one's having. These are national websites, and they're big platforms. They have about 500,000 subscribers. So that's really we're contributing writers for both of those. And again, our audience is we like transparency. And with the Indie Chicks and the Good Men's Project and Never Be Average, it's about being transparent, and it's about talking about topics that are uncomfortable, or getting people outside of their comfort zone, or having a lot of fun with it too. And so that we are contributing writers on those two websites.
Cool, that's really great. Yeah. So now, what are some of the topics that people are not talking about, that people don't want to talk about?
I think the things that people don't want to talk about is, essentially at the end of the day, the things that go on behind closed doors. So for relationships, people don't want to talk about it to other people. A lot of times, too, couples don't even talk about it together because they just want to avoid the situation. But it's the things that we're afraid of judgment and embarrassment and criticism from other people. So even in friendships, when you go out for a girls' night, every woman, that you go out to a girls' night and you're just fantasizing about being able to talk about the things that, you may be struggling with at home, and you get there and you sit down and you have a glass of wine, and then it's all surface conversation. Nobody's really talking about the everyday struggles of life, and it forces women to feel like they're alone, and that there's something wrong with their life, or there's something wrong with what they're doing, and that it must be just rainbows and roses for everybody else. So the things we're talking about is the relationship issues, the friendship issues, the family issues, the things that go on behind closed doors.
That's true. And I think that, a lot of times people, they don't want to talk about these things because they want to feel like they want everybody to think everything is just A-okay. Or like I said earlier, if they expose their feelings about certain things, they are considered weak, or, just not strong, or, their life is just not in order.
Yeah, and we also have, on our website is ways to bounce back from a breakup. And, there are so many things that we all go through that, sometimes there isn't a friend to talk to or a family member. And if we can be a place where they come and they read our material and it strikes some interest to them, or they even feel like reaching out to us for advice, that's really the purpose behind it is to just be a place and a resource where, hey, I can't talk to anyone. I can't tell you when I was going through breakups and my divorce, things like that, how many times I Googled things. And one thing, this is another reason why we're so passionate about this, is one of my most life-changing moments was when I Googled how to survive a breakup. And the most humorous pull up your big girl pants article came on. And at that moment I thought, oh my gosh, I'm in control. I can actually bounce back from that. And I had a lot of fun with it, and I laughed. And I looked at myself like, pick it up, Sarah. Let's go. Like, this isn't the end. And so we can be that for women. If they Google any subject and we come up, and they're like, you know what? Like, I'm good. Like, I can become a victor. Like, I don't need to be the victim. And so that's really our main mission.
Right. Because you're supposed to learn from your relationships and take it in stride and just move forward with it, but learn from it more than anything, instead of, like you said, being a victim.
Yeah.
So now you guys mentioned earlier that you were in corporate before you started this. What were you what were you guys doing in corporate?
We were both branch managers for a large corporate bank.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. And you know, did you get any backlash of people saying, oh my gosh, what are you guys doing? This is not going to work.
Absolutely. Those who were closest to us understood our passion and knew our passion because we had talked about it. They knew we had this website already, and they were like, if anybody can do it, you girls can go do it, go get it. But, especially, we were in positions this year to walk away with the biggest bonuses that we would have received in our corporate career so far. And you have to stay through the end of the year to get that. And so people, especially in the higher positions above us, thought we were absolutely nuts. How do you not stay at least to get your bonus? I get you out this calling, but you're crazy. And you know what? We were able to just get up and say, when you have a calling, if you're going to sit back and wait for something else to happen, it's never going to be fulfilled for you. And if you continue to try to just make the perfect plan to walk away, it's never going to happen. I mean, that's what a leap of faith is. And we were pushed very strongly on the inside that it was time. It was time to leave it all. It was time to leave the bonuses. It was time to leave the paychecks. It was time to leave the security of retirement and medical benefits and those kind of things, because this was something that was created for us, that we were meant for something greater. And we know that with anything that takes a lot of risk, there's big reward. And we're out here just saying, we've left it all for the good fight for women.
That is wonderful. And, I always say, too, that no matter what you go to school for, or no matter what, when God has a calling for you to do, when he has a mission for you to do, it doesn't matter what your degree is in. It doesn't matter. You are going to do that mission. You're going to do it.
Absolutely. Like Stacey, he can qualify us. We don't have to have the experience or the education or the resources or the finances, and we absolutely don't. But what we do have is a fire-burning passion in our hearts and, a clear understanding of what his calling is for us. And who are we to say, oh, no, you can wait on us? Right.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I think a lot of times people, we are conditioned to go to college, and not to say anything's wrong with college, but it's just that we're conditioned to, go to school, get a corporate job, and that's that. But, but now now more than anything, now more than ever, I see a lot of people just going down the entrepreneurial path.
Yeah. No, and the shift is coming, and I think that's great that, people are going out and finding their passion and their purpose. I mean, that's honestly, at the end of the day, God didn't create the corporation, he created the person. And when you go out and you find, your purpose and your creativity, your own individuality, I mean, that's when the magic happens. And you don't need a lot. You end up at the end of the day, when you pursue that path, I mean, we walked away from big paychecks and all that, and we've reduced our lifestyle and has made a lot of sacrifices, but we realize that we're even happier with little because we're waking up every day and we're pursuing our passion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I heard, I think it was Steve Harvey, he talked about how when you wake up in the morning, if you wake up and you dread getting up and you're like, oh gosh, I'm not a morning person, you just dread it, it's because you're not really walking in your purpose. But when you wake up and you're just excited and you're just ready to just get it, you that's how you know when you're walking in your purpose.
Yeah, that's so, I love that you bring up Steve Harvey, because he's been one of our biggest mentors. We love watching his videos, reading his books, but it was actually because of one of his videos. It was like a 2-minute video, and it talked about taking a leap of faith, that we felt encouraged. We're like, you know what? This is where it's at. And so I definitely recommend him as, someone to spend some time watching his material, because he is extremely powerful in his message.
Yes, yes. And who knows, maybe you guys might be a guest on his show one day.
I'm dream big, Marcy, dream big.
Yeah, look, we speak it into existence. It'll happen.
Right? Exactly.
So now, speaking of which, now I want each of you to tell me, what are some of the things you guys are looking forward to in 2016? Because it's around the corner.
I think well, that's hard to say each of us, because we really have the same goals and dreams and ambitions and the same vision. So a lot of things we're looking forward to are the same thing. So as far as Never Be Average goes, is I think what I'd say we're really looking forward to is building a bigger audience. We believe that God has a bigger platform for us, and He's just getting us prepared. And we're just looking forward to changing more lives. We're looking forward to getting out there, and we believe that there's going to be opportunities for us to speak in front of a lot of women, and we hope to bring them to their knees, tears and all, and then help pick them back up and get them on this road of happiness running. And I think for us, that's the dream for 2016.
Okay, so basically to gain a bigger audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
To reach more, to touch more people.
Yeah, that's a really good goal and vision to have. Now, do you guys plan on doing like some touring or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the end goal. At the end of the day, that's really what our vision is. Our vision again is to be out there in different areas of the nation and the world, or wherever God leads us to, where we can make an impact and a difference in women's lives. And and our ebook's the first of many more books to come, and Never Be Average is the first of many more platforms to be on. And so, but at the end of the day, the bigger the platform, the better. And again, it's the purpose of just being a voice for women.
Right. And women need that, because a lot of times we're taught to not like each other or to be catty. And you see it on these TV shows, women fighting all the time. And it just goes to show you that, that's not what women are always about.
Absolutely. We are so passionate about women inspiring women and supporting one another and lifting each other up instead of tearing each other down. And, that's the culture that of Never Be Average is, we're a place where women inspire each other and we motivate each other, and we're all human and we lift each other up, and it's very in a healthy environment. You got to look at yourself when you're tearing others down, because it's more of a reflection of yourself than the other person.
Right, and I feel that women need to always understand their power. Women, we are so powerful. They are, and how they say behind every great man is a great woman, and that tells you a lot about a woman and her power.
Absolutely, and we talk about that too, and that's why. We write for the Good Men's Project, which is a website for men, so we can give advice there. Anyone's welcome to our website, but our audience is mainly women, because that's the experience we can share. And we believe, great women make better men, great women make great children. It's time for this world to start shifting in another direction, and we feel like there's a movement that's happening, and we're fortunate enough to be called to be a part of it. But, the people who look at this world and wish that they could go back to the day and age when things were better, are the people who aren't getting to actually enjoy their life. The people who look at this world and think that there's still better to come are the ones who are going to make the difference, and that's what we want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, speaking of women and men in their roles, there's been a trend going on where women are actually proposing to men. How do you guys feel about that?
I think it's awesome. I think, again, Sam and I are not very traditional people. We are about people just being happy in whichever way they want. And there's no perfect path. If it's really important to a woman to get proposed to, and that's been her dream, then I think that should be her boundary and she should get proposed to. But if she's a woman that's like, I want to propose to my man, and that's what I want to do, then she should propose to her man. And so, again, it's whatever you want and whatever right path is for you. But again, if it's extremely important for you to get proposed to and that's your boundary, then you set that and you get proposed to. But if you really are like, I actually want to be a woman that proposes to my man, then propose to your man.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know some people were like, oh my gosh, we are really going into a different time, and this is like not cool, this is not okay. But hey, we are living in a different time, and things are totally different nowadays than they were back in the day,
Yeah, and I will say something. I mean, you have to, the only thing that I would be hesitant of it is if they're not on the same page. So let's say the man's like wanting to propose, and it's just not the right time, or things just aren't ready. And sometimes with women, I mean, I'm so guilty of this. Women, we like to control what we can control. And if we want that timeline to hit, sometimes we're like, I'm just going to go ahead and put this ring on his finger so we can just keep this stuff moving, which is great, but you want to make sure that it's all for the right reasons, and it's not to hit a timeline or things like that. It's genuine, and it's pure, and it comes from a place of we're ready, and I want to do this. I want to be the one to do that, and not just in a time frame kind of thing. So again, it's an individual situation, but if two people are at that point, and the woman wants to step up and do the proposal because that's what she wants to do, and he thinks it's awesome too, I think that it's a great thing.
Right. I mean, because I think we are getting away from a lot of tradition anyway. Tradition is just going out the window in a lot of aspects of life. So,
and that's just it. And it's kind of one of those things where you got to roll with the punches. It's just no different than with technology these days. People don't like that they can walk into a bank and that there's a machine there to do everything they want, but then other people really like it. It's just one of those things you kind of just have to move forward, because you spend all this time getting upset about other decisions people are making. Just worry about yourself and what you're trying to do.
Right. Right. Just mind your own business.
Well, I mean, really, like, if people want to live a happy life, but they're always spending so much time telling everybody else how to be happy, it's like time to take a look in the mirror,
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, and a lot of times people just like I said before, people compare, and well, they're doing this and they're doing that. So yeah, so it is about just your own individual preference. I always say this too. I think the older you get in life, the more you come to know that everything is about just your personal preference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's one of those things Sarah and I feel very strongly, because people like to place judgment and opinion very quickly. And it's one of those things, if somebody's making a decision, maybe I'm not going to make that same decision in my life, but their decision doesn't affect me at the end of the day, then who am I to tell them how to live their life?
Right. True. That is true. Now, I do want to ask you guys something. This is some little bit of girl chat. My friends and I, we were having this conversation because of a post that was posted on Facebook. When two people live together, man and woman live together, who should pay like all the bills, or how should people, work that out? How should couples work that out?
Do you mean as far as the percentage of what somebody's paying, or who's actually physically paying the bill?
Right, both. Just in your guys' opinion.
I can't say. I can't give an opinion. I don't think Sarah would either on percentage wise. I think that would be for a couple to figure out themselves. But as far as